Hello and welcome to Neurodiversity, or What is Neurodiversity? The original title for this was What is Neurodiversity and How to Try to Teach It. But I simplified it to What is Neurodiversity. And if you saw the initial part, the introduction, you're going to see that this course is not designed to teach you how to teach neurodiverse kids. You're all teachers, you know how to teach. This is designed to show you what it is like to be in school or in life in general with a neurodiverse condition. And the three things we're going to look at is ADHD, autism, and sensory processing disorder. Sensory processing disorder, usually it can be a standalone diagnosis, but it is often linked with ADHD or autism. So if you have ADHD, chances are you might have some sensory issues. If you have autism, very high chance you also have sensory processing disorder, even though it may not be listed as a separate diagnosis. So I looked up the Oxford Dictionary definition of neurodiversity, and it basically, the idea that people with brains that work differently are part of the normal range in humans, term often is used as an alternative way of considering the autism spectrum. The first thing a lot of people think when they hear neurodiverse is autism, but it does have several other conditions: ADHD, sensory processing, dyslexia, Tourette's, and some other conditions as well. But we're going to look at the three ones you're most likely to see in the classroom, or that most likely to have students with, which will be the ADHD, autism, and the sensory disorder often comes with those, like I said before. Dyslexia, I do not have a lot of experience in dyslexia, so I'm not talking about that in this course. So as an introduction, who am I? My name is Emily Saldana, I go by Lee. I've been teaching 8th grade Spanish at Wilson and Lamberton. I finished 2 years doing that. And I guess the biggest question I want to address is, how am I qualified? So I'm a new teacher. I've been here 2 years. Probably most of you watching this have been teaching for many, many more years than I am. And maybe you're wondering, why are you qualified? As you can see, my degree is not in psychology. It is not in special ed. So to look at the qualifications that I feel that I have to be able to teach this, is my family tree. So we have a really strong family genetics of neurodiverse people: ADHD, autism, Asperger's, sensory processing dysfunction or disorder, dyslexia, social anxiety. My grandmother, probably ADHD, possibly autism, never diagnosed, but looking back, talking about her life, how she was, very strong signs of that. I do have an uncle with autism, Asperger's. He's also a savant. Several nephews with autism and ADHD. I have several cousins with ADHD, as well as social anxiety, which sort of plays a part in this. My father is dyslexic, most likely has ADHD, probably has autism. And then I have several children of cousins diagnosed ADHD and autism. So a lot of my family is suspected, not diagnosed. We just have a very neurodiverse family, and we all know the signs and symptoms. And so a lot of people aren't being diagnosed. They just accept that that's the way they are. So that's my family tree. My life experience, this is what qualifies me for this. I do not have a degree in this. I did not have to pay to learn about this. I just have a lifetime of knowing about it and living with it. So my own, if I move the camera there so you can see, sensory processing difficulty or disorder, as well as ADHD and autism spectrum. Technically, I would be Asperger versus autism, but they no longer use Asperger syndrome due to the person who it was named after had Nazi ties back in the day. So they just switched it to autism spectrum disorder. So first thing I want to say is, do not panic. If you have said things or struggles with kids with autism or ADHD, I did not take it personally. I know that we can be a difficult type of people. So don't worry about that. I'm just going to share some things about my own life and life of my family, people that I've worked with, students, just to kind of give you a glimpse of what it is like to live with these disorders. And the biggest thing I want to say is walk a mile in our shoes. And that's what I want to do in this course. I don't want to tell you this is how you need to teach these students. I just want to show you this is what this student is going through. And how, like I said, you're all teachers, you know what you're doing. How can you adapt, or how can you not even adapt? How can you consider what they're going through when you're teaching? So we'll get into module 2 then with ADHD.